There's that recording notice now. Before we begin, we just want to thank you all for taking the time from your busy schedules to be here with us tonight. We want to design the very best housing project that we can. And since our goal is to serve the West Valley educator workforce, we cannot do that without your incredibly valuable insights and input. We also want to thank you for the wonderful work that you do as educators and school staff in our community. We're going to be making use of a few Zoom polls throughout the night. Whenever we use a poll, we just want to remind you to scroll all the way down before closing. Unfortunately, Zoom doesn't have a way for us to bring the poll back for you if you close it too early, and we want all of your great input. So we're going to give our first poll a try now. We'd like to begin by learning more about all of you who have joined us for the focus group this evening. So in just a moment, we're going to launch that poll. And remember, don't close the poll window until you've scrolled all the way down and answered both questions. The poll will ask two questions. What district do you represent and what staff type do you represent? We have learned that different districts have different nomenclature for their staff. So there is an other field with a fill in the blank if you don't see your title or staff type. And then once you've answered both questions, you can go ahead and close that poll. Should be launched now. I'm seeing responses already come in. Just a reminder to scroll all the way down so you can hit both questions. There's quite a long list of school districts, so you are going to need to squish down there. And we'll just give you a couple more minutes to answer what district you're from and what type of staff you are. All right, looks like we've got some Fremont Union, some Cupertino Union, Campbell, Cambrian, West Valley Mission. This is great. Thank you, everyone. Just give that another couple seconds.
Thank you.
Okay. Everyone looks like everyone's in, so I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, share those results. It looks like we have a good mix of certificated and classified staff. So thank you folks from both of those groups for joining us. It's really helpful to get all sorts of different school district employee opinions on our design tonight. So thank you, thank you. All right, now that you've introduced yourselves to us a bit, we're also going to introduce ourselves to you to kick off our agenda tonight. Second, we're going to introduce the project site and the neighborhood. Third and fourth, the bulk of our evening are really going to be a series of activities where you help us drive design decisions on the project. After that, we're going to collect your insight into options for policies for the operations of the development. And if time allows at the end of the evening, we'll open it up to questions, or we'll certainly share our contact info at the end of the presentation for you to follow up with emailed questions if you like. We have a lot of interactive activities for you throughout the night, so we hope you enjoy them. Our top priority for this meeting is for it to be enjoyable and meaningful for everyone here. So we have a few ground rules. If you would, mute your microphone for the best listening experience for everyone. And if you want to contribute something, feel free to either use the reactions button to raise your hand during prompts or put things in the chat. If you do use that reaction button, go ahead and wait for us to call on you just so we can hit you at a moment that's good for the flow of the presentation. You can use the chat anytime. I have team members reading the chat throughout the evening. And most importantly, we want you to share your experiences. That's what we're here for. And we love your specific feedback and your relevant knowledge for this. Lastly, smile, have fun. We can't wait to hear from you. Since we have a small group tonight, we want this to be a very collaborative meeting. We are here to learn from you, not the other way around. We have team members who will be doing their best in the background to capture your insights on our virtual whiteboard as we move through all of our activities this evening. At any time, again, feel free to use that raise your hand function to ask a question or make a comment. If you prefer to stay quiet, you can also use that chat function at any time to type in your comments and questions. We likely won't have all of your answers tonight, but we'll answer as many as we can and keep records of everything so that we can respond to you in time. Our objectives for today are to share what we've heard so far, share project updates with you, craft your design preferences and priorities for this development, and hear your preferences on policies. We have a lot of questions for you today, but just know that they are all optional. Nothing is a required response. And all of the data collected in the polls will be aggregated and we'll keep them anonymous. We're looking forward to learning from you today. And for anyone who has joined us late, please note that this meeting is being recorded. We'll be sharing it publicly on YouTube and on our project website. So before we jump into the project, we'd love to give you just a little bit of background on our teams. I'm Kate Conley, an architect and principal at Architects Fora and Engage Fora. I'm joined by our community engagement lead, Nicole Little. My partner, Sarah Vaccaro, and colleague Victoria Vaya in purple are here as well, representing the architectural design side of our team. The special thing about our practice is that the architectural design and community engagement, like this focus group tonight, are all under one roof, which allows us to have a seamless flow of information back and forth between these two parallel processes. On the top row of this slide, you'll see just a few of Architects Fora's housing developments that we've designed and built in recent years. And on the bottom row, you'll see examples of the types of activities that Engage Fora has crafted to gain the knowledge we need from future residents and community members like yourselves. I'll pass it off to Jared to introduce himself and Eden Housing.
Hi there, my name's Jared. I'm in the real estate department at Eden Housing. We're a nonprofit organization that builds and operates affordable housing throughout the state of California, with our primary focus in the Bay Area. We have over 10,000 units under ownership and management and have a property management company as well as a resident services company as part of our organization as well. And we've been around for a while and plan to be for a very long time. And we're super excited that the County of Santa Clara selected our organization along with the Fora team to execute their vision on this property. So I'm really excited to work with you all tonight.
Thanks, Jared. So we're going to do some project overview and goals. I'll walk you through the site context first. First off, this project is located in Cupertino, so pretty central to the West Valley. The little yellow triangle highlighted here is the project site. It's in a really vibrant neighborhood. It's an ideal commuter site. It's just off the 280. Future residents will benefit from the dense commercial areas and walkable retail and food options. There's a lot of transformation coming to the neighborhood as well, including new multimodal paths that will go right on the edge of our site. And then the Rise development, which is a huge mixed-use development. We're not associated with that project, but we're really excited about the urban walkable feel that it will bring right next door. Our goal for this focus group is to understand how this housing development can be specifically crafted to align with the needs, preferences, and lifestyles of educators and school district staff like yourselves. Our overarching value is to make sure the process is meaningful, genuine, inclusive, and impactful. We're about 2/3 of the way through our community engagement process for this project. You see here, we're in that co-creation phase, so we're talking a lot about design tonight. We've hosted a variety of engagement events with both the wider Cupertino community as well as the educator community. You can see those captured here. And I will pass it off to Victoria.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. We'd now like to share some development details about the project. In compliance with the city rezoning of the site, we are planning for 250 to 300 total rental units across the 5-acre property. All will be rental apartments and none offered for sale. It will serve a range of income levels and be built in multiple phases, with the educator housing built first. A portion of homes will have a preference for West Valley School District and De Anza Community College employees, while the remaining homes will be for other residents needing affordable housing. The project will include a variety of unit sizes and types. And now we are going to do a quick icebreaker activity. Our project vision is to provide rental housing options that prioritize West Valley School District employees, affordability for low and moderate income levels, and serving all employees, regardless of certification status. We'd like to get your input now on what you would layer onto this vision. And as we go through this, please feel free to raise your hand, to share verbally, or to use the chat function to type your comments. and we will be adding your comments onto the sticky notes here. We'll just take a few minutes to go through this.
Maybe convenience
Oh, that's a
and
great one.
close proximity to the school.
Any other thoughts or suggestions?
Family friendly living.
Great. Give us one more. Awesome. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Greg, for adding ones in the chat. We'll pop those in. Appreciate it. If you guys think of any more as we keep going, don't hesitate to use that chat. We have folks on top of it.
Yes, thank you all for sharing your thoughts. So now we'll share a bit about the zoning for this site. You might remember this area of Cupertino as the former Valco Mall. The city has been working to re-envision this area for years, prioritizing retail and recreation to honor the history of the mall, but also adding housing and offices so that it can be a vibrant, walkable place. The city has eyed the site, highlighted again here in yellow, slightly shifted off, for housing for over 30 years. It is a city designated housing element site and was recently rezoned to build even more housing. As Nicole mentioned, again, this project is not associated with the Rise development nearby. And then here we have an aerial view of the site, as well as a few different views from different sides of the site. So view 1 shows the view from I-280 from the off-ramp as you're exiting down onto Wolfe Road. View 2 shows the intersection of the off-ramp with Wolfe Road. View 3 shows the current view from the main entry on the side of the site, facing the Rise development. And then view 4 shows the view from the Portal residential neighborhood. And then now we also want to share slides with some really key information that we learned during our April virtual educator and school employees pop-up event. So we asked what school district our attendees were from and what type of employee they were. We had many attendees from the Cupertino Union School District, followed by the Campbell High School and K through 8. And then we had a pretty even split between certified staff and teachers and classified staff and support. We also asked participants if the intent of our project aligned with their vision for the property. We were happy to see that it largely did, and those who responded no were interested in for sale units mostly. And then 85% of participants also said that they'd be interested in living at our project, with location being the #1 reason, followed by amenities. 64% of attendees said that it has been very challenging to find housing, with the remaining attendees reporting some degree of challenge. Many people said that cost was a major issue. 21 respondents said that housing was too expensive, followed by commute type and quality, being required to have roommates, and then having a poor experience in affordable housing. And then looking more closely at commute time, most people had commute times at 10 or 20 minutes, and then 100% of respondents commuted by car. We also asked about the number of people in households. 83% of respondents were in households of 3 people or less. As for income brackets, 50% of respondents were in the 80% AMI category, while the remaining half was split above and below 80% AMI. We also heard a lot of really useful information about priorities and things that were important to attendees. Green space and parking were both the top ranked site-related items, followed by trees. Fitness and gathering spaces were also noted as being important. People also liked a homey but modern design aesthetic. And then in the units, it was heard many times that in-unit laundry and natural lighting were very important. General principles that were important included sustainability, and pet and kid-friendly design. And yeah, it was really, really helpful to hear all of these priorities. And now I will hand it off to Kate to kick off our first activity.
Awesome. Thanks, Victoria. So armed with all of that knowledge of what we've heard from educators like yourselves so far, we're going to roll up our sleeves and launch into our first group design activity. We want to identify what your potential concerns are and what items you want to make sure we explore as we design this development. By framing our potential next steps as questions, beginning with how might we can turn our insights into potential action items. So check out the speech bubble on the screen for a great model you can use to generate these how might we statements. And that is, how might we have an intended effect for a user so that we get a desired effect. The main goal of this exercise is to write as many how might we statements as we can. There's kind of no bad ideas here. And this is a great time to use the chat or shout them out, and our team will copy and paste them into the Miro board. We're going to attempt to group our how might we statements into 4 categories: items inside the individual dwelling units, items in the larger building, items on the site or in the surrounding community, and finally policies for the housing development. We've dedicated about 3 minutes to each category, so this is rapid fire. Again, just go with your gut. What are the first 1 or 2 how might we statements that occur to you when you think of each of these categories? It's important that the format of our questions isn't too broad, like how might we eliminate homelessness, or too narrow, like how might we, make a shopping list. So please get as specific as you'd like in reference to the design and project context that we've just presented. I'm already seeing some popped up into the chat. I'm so excited. So we're going to start with individual homes. We've included some examples to get you started based on things that we've heard so far. How might we design apartments that feel like home? How might we make the lived experience for residents easier? How might we provide appropriate storage options? So thinking about inside the apartment first, we're going to give it about 3 minutes for you all to add your how might we statements. I'm already seeing some come through in the chat. Also, feel free to unmute yourself. We have note takers who are ready to write down everything you say. All right, I'm seeing how might we provide activities or events so residents can get to know each other. That's great. What about things inside the unit specifically? Maybe think about some challenges you have kind of inside your own home. Love this. How might spaces be maximized inside the new home so that family can maximize families of 4? Love it. One thing we hear a lot about for the units is how might we control noise.
Ooh, I like spacious yet efficient.
How might we have some units with furniture included? That's a great one, Joanne. Thanks for adding that. Love it. Privacy is not overwhelmed by community. Other costs for the dweller stay low over time. These are excellent. Ensuring natural light. Fantastic. Love it. In-home gatherings. Great. This is a fantastic list, y'all. All right, just going to give it a couple more seconds on this one, and then we're going to move to in the broader building. Okay, let's switch it over. So in the building, I'm already seeing a good one from Greg. How might we ensure quality design aesthetics, yet keep costs low for residents? Ooh, that's a good one for inside the units, Joanne. How might we have choices of color, granite, marble, etc.? How might we ensure there's access to outdoor or other space that gives the feel of what others in single family homes get to experience or utilize with yards, garages, etc.? That's great, Carly. Think also about maybe amenities we might include. We often hear, how might we create spaces for social gathering if you want to have a larger party, create a range of spaces that suit diverse uses, create sustainable living environments. Safety and security for residents. Awesome. Thanks, Kim. Support the healthy lifestyles, gym, yoga space. Yep. Great, great, great. These are all perfect. Nice. Allow children and adults to play. I like that one. Animal areas. Perfect. We get that on almost every single project. Glad to see it here too. Indoor to outdoor space. Cool. Ooh, living walls. Dig. We have our landscape architect on the call, so we'll put that in his court. What else in terms of, yeah, perfect. Community classes, incorporating childcare type options. These are awesome. Thinking about all ages in the development and how the building can support. Okay, I'm gonna give this another 20 seconds and then we'll move on to in the community. Certain floors for quiet. Dig. Yeah. Thanks, Kim. Okay. Feel free to keep adding responses for other categories, but we're gonna move on to on-site and in the community. So this one's a little tricky. It's kind of about the boundary between this project site and how it responds to kind of the community and neighbors around it. This site in particular has a lot of kind of boundary qualities that we want to help explore. So some examples are, how might we facilitate the active lifestyle of educators? How might we design open spaces and green spaces that are inviting? How might we create pet or kid-friendly amenities? Something we heard from our first focus group, or our first pop-up, I should say, is how might we create space for sports? Incorporate potential ground floor services. Would that be like, can you say a little bit more about what that might be, Kim? Oh, like groceries. Okay. So maybe some retail opportunities in there. Cool. How might we merge our communities for community involvement? Love that. Space for nonprofit use. Fabulous. On-campus recycling. Composting. Love it. Thinking about maybe some other outdoor activities you all enjoy now and how we might incorporate that into the site. Athletic fields and courts. Outdoor spaces be maximized so that a variety of people can equally share without feeling encroached upon. Dog park. Love it. Align design with keeping residents safe. Emergency procedures, security. Great. These are fabulous. Okay, I'm gonna give this another 20 seconds. If anyone has any last burning site ideas. Yeah, these are great. Large pool, reduce traffic within the site and keep outside traffic from being curious. Okay, great. Zip car, love it. Okay. How might we add AEDs? Can you let us know what AED means to you, AJ? And we're going to go ahead and scoot over to the policies. This one's new for us because this is educator workforce housing. Oh, thank you, automatic external defibrillators. Thanks. So for policies, some examples are how might we serve teachers and school district staff beyond providing affordable housing? How might we create fair tenant eligibility policies? How might we best serve school district employees who need housing most? So this is a little bit more about the tenancy and operations side of things. One question we've gotten so far is how might we house retired staff? Love it. How might we create transitions for those who leave the district? Great. Regulate who lives there.
I think we got one earlier too in the vision exercise, how about creating a transparent, fluid process for applying to access the housing.
That's a great one, Jared. I'm glad you mentioned that again here. That's from Carly. Any other policy things that we're curious about? How might we strike the right balance of allowing people enough time to stay in the community to benefit from it while also having some guardrails that allow others to get into the community? That is the million-dollar question, Carly. This is exactly what we've been wrestling with. So thank you for the pitch perfect summary. Lots of pluses and hearts on that one. Okay, awesome. Well, as always, feel free to use the chat as your own personal message board to us if anything else occurs to you. Oh, here we go. Contingencies, exceptions to policies, appeals, etc. Perfect. As we keep going, I'm sure some more might occur to you, so feel free to just keep posting them there. Or you are welcome to unmute yourselves, I promise. We love it. Okay. So next, we're going to take all of these fantastic how might we statements, and for each category, we'd like you to let us know which of these resonate with you the most to carry into our next activity. So this one, it's going to really help us if you are able to unmute yourselves to kind of give us your verbal votes on which one of these resonate the most with you. Give us your top one or two, and we'll choose those to kind of carry into our next activity. So starting again with inside the units, which of these resonates with you the most? And if you need us to zoom in to make them a little more legible to read, we might be able to look at half at a time. So pop it in the chat, unmute yourselves and let us know, and we'll just add stars for the votes next to the most popular ones.
Space efficiency.
Space efficiency, great, thank you.
Yeah, +1 to that.
Okay.
How natural light and spaces that still protect privacy.
Great.
Sorry for my technical difficulties.
You're good. What else is resonating with all of you? Or are these really the ones that we're excited about focusing on for the next activity? Great, spaces to create privacy and noise control. Okay. I think we're getting some strong favorites here on this category.
And then also the one about keeping costs low over time with
Mhm.
choices about what's in the dwelling.
Great. Awesome. Agree on spacious and efficient. Thanks, Greg. Okay. Looks like we've got some strong votes there. Thanks, everyone. I think we're ready to move on to in the building. So we'll zoom in on those. And again, same process, just kind of let us know which one of these are really resonating with you. Nicole, maybe if we could zoom into just the top 3 rows and scooch that floor one. Yeah, you read my mind. Thank you. There we go. It's a little more legible.
I think for sure indoor and outdoor space.
Mhm. Any other thoughts from the group? Which one of these are important for us to focus on?
Shared community spaces.
Great.
The community classes or
Okay.
workout spaces.
Awesome. Yep. Safety and security. Thanks, great. Cool. Yeah, I'm seeing kind of a cluster around the community building piece and then a cluster around safety, security, indoor, outdoor space. Safety. Another vote for safety from Joanna. Great. Okay. On site and in the community. Nicole's going to scooch those so we can read them a little better. So which one of these on site and in the community post-its are resonating the most with you all?
Party room, y'all.
Love it. Indoor, outdoor party room. We're already finding synergies.
I love the composting and space for growing and accessing healthy food ones.
Yes, yeah. That's really popular for us too, so we'd love to explore that. Electric car charging, dig it. Any other strong votes?
Dog park for sure.
Dog park, love it. Yes. Recycle plastics and glass on site, great. Dog, love it. We got to vote for dog park. All right, any other last burning desires on this one? This is a good list. Okay, policies. I feel like we've already got some upvotes on one of these, but let us know your votes. If you could, I don't know if it's possible for you to zoom in like one more click, Nicole, just for the text on that longer one. There you go, perfect. Would everyone feel comfortable if we kind of went for the right balance one? Yeah, love it. Resident governing. Okay, looks like we've got some kind of resonance around this. Yeah, perfect. Great. Thanks, Carly. Okay, cool. We've got some winners here. Awesome. Well, this with your votes will take us into our second activity, which I think Nicole is going to lead for us. So I'm going to mute myself and let her take it over.
Great. Awesome job. Awesome job generating so many thoughtful responses to how might we across the unit, site, and building and policy. I'm excited to take a deeper look into these top priority statements with you all now. So in the background, Victoria was taking those winning items and copying them into these boards. And so we're going to ask you to put on your design hats and ask you kind of what are the steps to doing this activity and how might we design the ideal physical environment to facilitate this activity. And so the first topic, going back to individual homes, we have a winner was spacious yet efficient. And so I'd love it if some folks could kind of explain what an ideal spacious apartment might feel like and what efficiency means.
Like
Like an
hidden,
open floor plan.
sorry, I interrupted the open floor plan person, but I wanted to say like hidden storage that serves as something else, like, you know, like a lounge, like even like the nook, like breakfast nook or something where you sit can have storage, some things like that.
Clever. See some storage in the chat as well. High ceilings.
I see a raised hand from Carly.
Types
Go
of
for it.
furniture and cupboards. That's great.
Yeah, kind of in that vein, I think like borrowing from some of the concepts of like what tiny homes do, even though it's not a tiny home, but thinking about things that can like do double duty or things that can be flexible, movable to the needs of the people in it in some way. So like the hidden storage, but also thinking about ways rooms could be designed where it might be able to function as an office, or it might be able to function as a bedroom, or I don't know, just borrowing from kind of existing design that's really functional in small spaces might be useful.
Great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
Mhm.
love the balance
also
between
seeing,
flexibility and furnishings and storage.
I'm also seeing a suggestion in the chat for separate storage available for Christmas decorations, etc. So maybe some storage kind of external to the unit is what I'm inferring from that. But if that's not what you meant, Kim, let us know.
Yeah, there was another comment that was related to how can you make it function like a single family home, and that's exactly that. You have somewhere to stow away decorations for all the holidays.
These are great. You guys are all hired.
Open shelves,
Oh,
storage.
movable room divider. That's also a bookcase. Very cool. We've seen a lot of ideas like that. So glad to hear that's something that resonates with you all as well.
Great. I think we have plenty of answers for that one. Looks like the second top pick for in individual homes was to how might we regulate privacy and noise? And so what are some of the experiences that you might want privacy from in your unit? Is it just when you walk into your unit? Is it the view? Kind of considering what privacy and noise means to you for the first question. And then what are some of the design solutions? Great, doorway that doesn't. Yeah, you don't want someone to see into your bathroom when you open your entry door, for example. It's a good one.
Softening the blow of the floor so that the person below doesn't get all the noise.
Yes.
No
Yeah.
tap dancing upstairs neighbors. Making sure not to hear water or showers from sinks or toilets flushing. That's a great one. This is great, Greg. Sports and play areas and dog parks away from units. Where do windows open or not? Great one. And also the quality of the windows.
Mhm.
I think quality of the blinds too, like something that's
Mhm.
really easy to use and actually provides privacy, and that can stand the test of time. I have the world's worst blinds in my own apartment, which is where that comment is coming from.
This is what we need from you guys. What are the experiences we're trying to correct here? All right, are we ready to move on to in the building?
I think so.
Cool.
Okay, so now we're zooming out, not in the apartment anymore, back to the scale of the building overall. And so the winning topic here was safety and security. So think about your experience going into your home and using the different spaces through the building. What does safety and security mean to you? And what are some of the design features that would make you feel safe and secure?
Coated doors.
Great.
I think with that coded access to parking or wherever cars and stuff are going too.
Great. Wide hallways, access points for emergency exits.
Also seeing a possibly coated floors in there, which is something that we've done. These are good suggestions. Cameras.
Mm-hmm. Key cards. I love the idea of wide hallways. Those always feel nicer anyways.
I'm thinking also, yeah, I'm seeing lighting. That's another one that comes up for us often in terms of safety and security too. Good suggestion, Greg.
Awesome. Anything else? Sanitation. Really great answers, everyone. Okay, next in the building topic, the second winner was indoor to outdoor space. So think about for this one, what spaces would be most appropriate to have that indoor-outdoor connection? Is it a visual connection? Is it a physical connection? And what are the sort of design features? Oh, great answer, Greg. I'd love to hear also if there's certain types of common spaces that would specifically benefit.
Multi-use clubhouse.
Love that. Gabriella, you're all about the parties.
Or yoga, you know?
Yoga, yeah, that's a
very
great
true.
idea.
Mm-hmm.
Community gym, barbecue, seating
Mhm.
area.
Flooring that's seamless between the spaces. You guys are
Mhm.
architects. I love it.
Any visual connections too between these spaces? Like, what do you want to look at when you're in the gym, for example, or doing yoga?
Or doing laundry.
Or doing laundry, yeah. Living walls.
Like minimalist style, like clean minimalist.
There's some good suggestions in the chat too for a team that I want to make sure not to miss, like drought resistant outdoor landscaping and oh, you guys are on it. Okay.
These are so good. Thank you.
Outdoor shade's a really good one. Thank you for adding that.
Oh, yeah.
Frequently overlooked.
All right, zooming out yet again. So on the site and connecting to the greater community, our winning topic here was outdoor shared space for building community. So what types of activities do you feel that you would connect most with other residents in the building if you were living here? Or in your current experience, where do you feel the most connected to your community?
And feel free to wrap the neighbors into your thoughts about this too. So the community of the folks who are actually living in this development, but also the community around the periphery.
Games.
I think
Pickleball, grass fields,
Nice.
Large outdoor.
basketball court.
Love it.
I really like the modern age stuff. Like I've heard all this whole like you know, mini home stuff, whatever is coming up, is a lot of like putting a lot of different things together into one space.
Mhm.
So being able to have that like openness feel that's allows for different tiny pockets, but that are all together, you know. So I hear people saying like even basketball and pickleball and all these things, like they can actually coexist in one big space if
Mhm.
you're in like a that so like I'm thinking like cohesiveness.
Mhm. Love it. And from Greg, seeing a mix of small and large outdoor sitting areas. We have plenty of opportunities for that on the site due to its unique geometry. So thank you for that suggestion.
Ooh, a farmer's market. I love
Love
that.
that.
That connects back to the healthy food. Yes, weather resistant furniture. No one wants to sit on aged furniture. So
Nothing
you're not building
soggy.
community there.
Yeah.
All right. The next top winner was dog park. So tell us a little bit more about what your ideal experience, if you're an animal owner or pretend that you're an animal owner, what your ideal experience would be with a pet, and what are some of the design elements there?
Turf, dog poop bags,
Something that doesn't take up a lot of space, but maybe like a long, like skinny running track type looking thing.
So many good suggestions. Place to let them wash or play in water. Gated. A gate that a chihuahua doesn't slip through, preferably.
Yes.
a dog water bowl, like a water fountain.
Cute. We often put pet wash areas if they get dirty.
I'm stealing the term sniffables, Kim. That's cute.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Now on to policy. Our clear winner there was the right balance of letting residents stay versus welcoming new residents. This is something we've been grappling with, trying to understand, so I'm really glad you all brought it up. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
And this one's tricky, so feel free to just kind of talk it out. Like
Yeah.
if there's a scenario that you'd be concerned about, or something that you feel is maybe like a fair option. There's kind of, again, no right answers here, so feel free to just sort of speak what's on your mind about this.
I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is that if the person's not within a teaching sort of thing or whatever else kind of like firefighters, whatever else you guys are using for a long time, then it has to be like maybe I'm gonna stop talking now.
Collect your thoughts.
Go for it. Yeah. I'm seeing some great suggestions in the chat. It seems like this needs to be dynamic with income and number of years in the district. Transition type services. Can there be a board or service rep to help a growing family find a new location? A matrix of eligibility with scores. Someone asking if you can kick people out of their homes. If I'm assuming that's Joanne tied to like a change in employment at the district or not? Is that the concern there?
I guess to me, it seems like the transparency up front of people knowing before they have ever moved in exactly what it is that's going to be the line feels like the most important. So I don't think I have any idea what the time frame should be or the eligibility or the matrix or whatever, but just like the communication and transparency up front so that everybody knows if there's a cutoff date or if there's a certain thing that's going to cause them to have to move out, as long as that is communicated up front and is part of the move-in process, that seems really important.
I'm seeing from Gabriella, a difficult area to talk about. We agree with you completely. Knowing when reevaluation will happen. Yeah, that kind of ties into that transparency piece as well.
And we have another slide towards the end to
We
kind of
do.
share some of the things that we've been working through. And we, as the team mentioned before, met with school district leaderships, a lot of superintendents over the summer to get their thoughts on it. And I can also tell you it was like all across the board as well. So, that seems like there's not a whole lot of consensus as well, but we'll try to get there.
Thanks, everybody. Okay, last one for the how might we exercise. So again, in policy, the second winning topic was resident governing. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this. There's not so much a physical environment for this one, but.
Yeah, and the longer how might we was how might you create a system for resident governing? I'm assuming that's
Okay.
for residents who are living in the development if there's an issue. But if you meant something different, person who suggested that, feel free to let us know. And maybe this takes the form of like a board. Yeah, exactly. Kim, you read my mind. A board with diverse tendencies like an HOA. Limit of time with 1-year Senate seats. Love it. Management and renters liaison boards. These are great. System for communication.
Awesome.
I share your frustration with HOAs, Gabriella. This is great. These are really good suggestions, everyone. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Looks like Sarah has caught up with us in her furious note taking. Thank you, Sarah.
Awesome.
Again,
Good.
any of these categories, if anything else occurs to you all, please plop it in the chat. There's no time too late.
I'm impressed without a timer on. We manage to do that right on time.
All right. Is it me now?
Who is it?
I think it's you, Kate.
It is?
But I don't think we should be on housing types and activities, should we?
We are. We're just doing a little bit of a community engagement recap first.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Thank you. Keeping me straight. All right. We're going to take a quick break from activities to recap what we've heard from our past community engagement events. So, as you saw in our little intro, we've had a series of events, both with the neighbors and with future educators, representatives from the school district. We had a little pop-up at the Cupertino Earth Day event. So at each event, we asked participants what type of affordable housing population they think would be most suitable for this site. Families and young professionals and workforce population were the most common responses at all of our events. And note that when we did this activity, educators were included by default in addition to everyone in this list. So you all were at the top of everyone's list. And even though we said educators were included by default, people actually added more Post-its with educators on there. So you are beloved by the Cupertino community. We also conducted a visual preference survey to ask which local buildings people liked. The Hamptons was a favorite across all of our event participants, followed by the Veranda and 1655 South De Anza. Additionally, at our educators event, we asked about preferences for amenities, community rooms, fitness and yoga rooms, flex multi-purpose space, and storage rooms were the most popular indoor amenities. Outdoor plazas, open turf space, and play areas, as well as sport courts, outdoor kitchen and barbecue, and fire pits were the most popular outdoor amenities.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate. So now we're going to talk a bit about different types of buildings, and then we are going to ask you which you think would serve school district staff the best. There are benefits and considerations to each type. The first type that we're going to look at is apartments. And there are major benefits, such as a single secure entry through the lobby, elevators, significantly more room for green space, access to amenities within the building. And then there's some considerations to think about. Parking may be farther away from the building, or from the apartment units rather. There would be apartments on two sides of the hallway, and there would likely only be windows on one side of the unit. And I know there's a lot of text on the slide, so we'll give you a second to read through this. Awesome. And then now we can take a look at the next type of building. We are going to look at townhomes. So townhomes offer the opportunity to have two-story home options, a village of smaller buildings, parking very close to the home entry, and then windows on more sides of the home. But there would be very little green space or outdoor amenity space since the units are spread farther across the site rather than up. Most of the site would be asphalt for parking. Parking wouldn't be in a garage, and units would also not be ADA accessible as there would be no elevators. And then again, we'll give you some time to look through these. Great. And now we will look at the final housing type that we're going to look at today. The last type is walk-up style apartments. So this type would have open air outside corridors and stairs with a unit entry right outside, right off the outside corridor. There would be more ground floor homes and then parking close to the unit entries. But similar to townhomes, there would be very little green space as most of the site would be asphalt for parking. And then also, just like with the townhomes, there would be less indoor amenity space and you'd have to bring trash outside rather than to a trash chute on your floor. And I'll just give you another second to read through these. And then now that you have some insights into the different benefits and considerations of apartments, townhomes, and walk-ups, we want to know, which building type do you think would serve educators and school district employees the best? We'd like you to rank the choices and share why. And we suggest that you consider the pros and cons of the lived experience of the educator workforce. For example, what is it like to park? What's it like walking inside, relaxing, getting to the gym, taking out the trash, hosting social gatherings? And then I think we have a summary slide up next to show just the different benefits and considerations for each type again as you make your decision.
Just as a clarifying question, is there an income maximum for the housing that would be developed?
I'll let Jared
Because I'm
answer that.
thinking like the needs of a veteran teacher who's older might be different in terms of what type of housing is most appropriate for them versus like a brand new teacher. I don't know. I'm just curious.
We'll get into that immediately after this, so I'm not sure we'll be able
Okay.
to like give you that information to inform this this one, but there will be income limits, so they'll especially when you move into the development that will be in place.
Yeah, and I'd say feel free to answer for yourself.
I launched a poll just so we can get a clear understanding of which one you think is your top choice versus second and third choice.
Yes. Thank you, Nicole. And yeah, please remember to scroll down if the window is too small to see the whole box for adding your text in there.
And Kim,
Okay,
go ahead,
sorry.
Jared.
No, go ahead. I was gonna address that.
No, go for it.
I think Sarah wanted to.
Oh, sure. Kim, you asked, would apartments be oriented to southern exposure for windows? And while we would love to do that for every single apartment, when we're trying to maximize the number of homes on the site, we will prioritize as many having the best sun exposures as possible. However, the buildings will be large, and so there will be different sides. So units will have different windows facing different directions throughout the site. For east and west, where you get more sun in the morning or the afternoons, we can definitely provide shading through trees or other building attachments along with the southern. And then yeah, looking at providing exposure on more than one side is a topic I think we'll be getting into shortly as well. So I'd love to get more input from the group on that.
Thank you for that, Sarah.
Hi, I was wondering if we were, I don't know if I got it in an email like this. I would love to be able to go back to the apartments. Did we get a share of these slides?
I have not sent them out, but I can send them. I would just need to print them really quick. Or I'm happy to flip through these if you want. I can.
Thank you for. Thank you. I just wanted to say that I think the parking is like may seems like really like scary to see that it's far away for apartments, but that actually the consolidation, I think once you get over that fact, it's very I think it's a safety feature. So can you just elaborate a little bit on the parking? So then the parking, would it be like one of those covered parkings like you would see at a mall or something? So like maybe with entry key or something like that, or
Yeah. Oh, I'll let Sarah go.
Oh, either way. Are you, Gabriella, are you asking within the apartment building style? Yeah, great question. So typically what we would propose and what we have in mind for this site, if we go the apartment route, is that we would have a parking garage on the ground level of the apartment building. So you'd be able to drive into the site in your car, potentially drive through a gate into the garage. The gate can be access controlled. Park your car in your assigned spot and then walk to either the lobby or one of the elevator towers, and then go up to your unit or floor and then unit from there. So to your point, yes, there's a lot of levels of safety and access control to a parking garage. And great point about it being more consolidated. Parking garage is much more efficient use of space than surface level parking, not within a garage.
Yeah, I don't know if it's appropriate to like toot this as like a big thing, but I think it's a really huge safety. Like I think people should really look at this because I think it's for the area that we're in, having the safety with the parking. I think this is the one that would really put it into that category for safety.
Thank you, Gabriella. And I'm seeing a lot of great input in the chat, so thank you all for responding here. We appreciate it.
Right. In the poll, share out those results. It looks like apartments and townhomes were the overwhelming top two choices. So with walk-ups kind of taking third place there. So thank you everyone for providing your ranking, and we're looking forward to kind of reading the additional comments that you added on for the second question as well.
Great. Thank you, Kate. All right. And so for our next poll, we would like your help prioritizing different apartment design options. So there's only so much space in the building and only so much that we can spend. So we'd love your help identifying what we should prioritize. We'd like you to pick your top 3. And again, we are going to launch a poll, and also remember to scroll down and to also only pick your top 3.
So many of these already.
Perfect. We'll just give you maybe a couple more seconds here. Okay.
Message
Shall we-
received about that in-unit laundry. I'll share the results.
Ooh,
100%
100%.
of respondents.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the input. We'll take all of this into consideration as we're designing the units. So thank you again. And I will now hand it off to Jared to discuss timeline, financing, and much more.
Yeah, I'm sad to admit I'm going to talk about all the bummer topics. They leave that for the real estate guy to do. So first, quick overview of the development process, where we are. We're in this community engagement and entitlements phase. So we're getting our local approvals from the city, and we're planning to get that wrapped up sometime early next year, and then move into our permitting phase, where we will be advancing the design and the construction plans and get those checked and reviewed by the building department, and then also go through our financing phase, where we'll assemble all of the funding sources that'll pay for the development, and then move into construction. We're targeting by the end of 2026 to break ground on the educator phase in this development, and then construction will take around 2 years. So hope to be open for occupancy at the beginning of 2029. So it is still a ways out, and these developments take a long time to put together. So I just wanted to share that part of it. And on that funding piece, there are three primary sources of funding that we'll use in this development. The first one is the low income housing tax credit, which will pay for units in the development that are restricted below 80% of area median income. And we'll get into that a little more, what that means. We're going to include both what's considered low income and moderate income units in this development. The County of Santa Clara has set aside a significant amount of funding for this project from its recent housing bond. And then the last piece here is traditional bank mortgage that will have monthly principal and interest payments like any mortgage, that we will use income from rents minus operating expenses of the building to pay for that mortgage. And we're pretty limited in the number of funding sources that are out there to pay for teacher housing. It's still a pretty new concept in the state, so there haven't been a lot of dedicated public sources that are out there. So that constrains us a little bit on the size of the project that we can build, and we're in the kind of 90 to 100 unit range for this phase. Okay, so now we have a little activity to explore the part of the financing that will impact residents most directly, and that's how much rent is going to cost. And we'll get a little bit into those income restrictions and what that means for the rent. So please take a minute or second to grab something to take notes with, either a pen or paper or the notes app on your phone. So you can jot down a couple of things as we go through this. So in publicly funded housing developments like this, applicants have to earn below certain income limits in order to be eligible. And those income limits are also used to determine the rent. And so the first step here is to identify how many people are part of your household. And that means how many people that will actually live in this rental unit with you. And then once you find that column, either one person, just yourself, or you're living with one other, either a roommate or a partner, spouse, or a child, the applicable column. And then after that, you'll find the range that the total household income falls within. So that includes both your annual income, as well as if there's another income earner that'll be living in that unit with you, combining those both together. So once you've identified your column and then what range you fall in, if you could just write down what group you're in, whether that's A, B, C, D, or E. And I'll give just a little bit more to identify that. And if there's any questions about how this works, let me know. But assuming everyone has their group, and if we can go to the next slide.
I also launched the poll so you could mark your answers in there if you don't want to write them down. These questions, the group and the household size are in there.
That's a good idea. Thanks,
You're
Nicole.
welcome.
Don't close it yet, though. Don't close the
Yeah,
poll
please
yet.
don't
Keep it
close
open. Okay. And then now on this slide, you can find what group you're in, and then the unit size that you'd like to live in, and then you can find the the applicable rent. And this would be like if the building were open today, the 2024 rent. So at this point, you can fill that into the poll that we have open. Again, your answers will be aggregated and will remain anonymous. And I think we're not going to share these poll results out here. So, but again, please provide information that you feel comfortable sharing, and answer our questions in the poll. And really appreciate your willingness to share this information, and your responses will help us determine the financial feasibility of this development, and make sure it's is serving the educator population as best as it can.
And I'm seeing the responses coming in. Thank you, everyone. It looks like you all are scrolling all the way down. That's great. Let's give it a couple more minutes. Yeah, it looks like folks are still entering.
Are these rents based on current market trends, like as of today, or would these be the prices in 2029?
They would go up over time, but typically less, they're not as volatile as kind of market rate rents can be. But I'll get into that a little bit once we close the poll. I'll peel back the curtain a little bit about where these rents come from.
I think we're probably okay to end the poll. Please chime in if you are still filling it out. Awesome. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm going to end it but not share so that we can keep things private and anonymous.
Okay, so to that, to kind of dig into that question, so this is the context behind these income limits. Like I mentioned before, they're all based on the area median income in the county, in this case, Santa Clara County. And this is more or less the range of income limits that we intend to include in this development. We haven't yet really specified how many of each how many units at each income level we'll be setting aside. So that's something that we're going to use your feedback to inform, in addition to other polls and focus groups and interviews with the school district community, in addition to how we can make the numbers work on our side. And let's these are what are feed into the rent. So let's take an example of a three-person household at the 80% income level. This is the household size that's typically considered for a 2-bedroom apartment. And how that rent calculation works is that you take the annual income, you multiply it by 30%, assuming that 30% of income goes towards housing, and that gets the annual rent. And then you divide by 12 and you get the monthly rent. And there's also an allowance, a small allowance in here for tenant paid utilities. So it ended up being a little bit less for this 2-bedroom rent, but that's more or less how it works. And these income limits are set each year and can go up from year to year. So they will be higher in 2029. But then once you are a tenant, once you have a lease, the rent will go, I think we cap at 3% annually in most of our developments. So the rent won't go up very much year to year. Okay, and this is how all of those income limits translate to rents. On this slide, you'll notice at those higher income levels, those rents start to get very high, and in fact, exceed market rate rents in this area. And it's important for us and for the county and all of our other partners to make sure this is a benefit to teachers, and we're not just charging market rate rents. So we're going to cap rent at a level below market rate, and we're still working to determine what exactly that'll be. But on the next slide, this is an example of how that can work. This first row has market rate rent at average between 3 properties that are around within a half-mile radius of this development. And what we showed you before, that maximum rent was this 90% rent based on 90% of area median income. And you can see it's still a discount to market rate rent, especially at the larger bedroom sizes. But is getting close at that studio size, studio unit for sure. So that's a little bit of background there. Let me know if you have any questions about this, and then we only have a couple minutes left. So also wanted to cover some of the policies that we started to talk about before. So on this, certifying that you're eligible under one of the applicable income limits, how this will work is that you need to be eligible at the time of lease up when you move into the unit. And then if the household exceeds the income limit during occupancy, that is not typically cause for eviction. If you want to say your household size increases and you want to move to a larger unit, at that point you'd have to recertify below the applicable income limit. But if you stay in your unit, you won't be kicked out because you start making too much money. We will have a continuous employment requirement, and this is really important to a lot of our stakeholders, that as long as a member of the household remains employee of one of the school districts that we're partnering with on this development, you'll maintain your eligibility. But if your employment ends for any reason, whether you leave the district for another job, or your employment's terminated, or you retire, will be a grace period of some amount of time after that, and we're still working out exactly how long that should be. And we've seen precedents of 3 to 6 months. So if anyone has feedback on that, we'd be really interested in hearing it. And then the other piece that came up before that we started to talk about a little bit is, even if you continue to be an employee, should there be some maximum length of stay in the building? If it's a certain number of years, or should you be allowed to live there indefinitely? And we've heard responses from both sides on that. And honestly, there are reasons to do both. Whether you want to have really encourage stability, especially if you have kids, going to school in a local school district, and if you can't, if you have to move out, having to leave, and the disruption that causes, versus also creating opportunity for someone else to benefit from this housing. So we're still working through that, and there's still time to figure that out, because like I mentioned before, it's not going to open until 2029. So we'll have it figured out by then, but we'll continue to work through that. Okay, we're basically at time. Let's see, I see some questions in the chat.
Yeah, before we get to Q&A, since we did not leave much time for that, I wanted to thank everyone. And we can stay on a few minutes for those interested in staying on. But for people who have to hop off, it's been a really wonderful evening getting to know you all. We deeply appreciate your time and energy, your insights. I'm already itching to get to the design based on these conversations, and just know that the future design of these buildings are going to be so much better because of all of your input. We'll make sure to keep you updated with the project's process, and keep an eye out in your inbox for project updates, and also that $50 Tango gift card as a token of our gratitude. So for those of you who'd like to sign off, thank you so much again, and enjoy the rest of your night. And our team can stay on for a little bit if you want to take some time. I know that was a lot to process. So if you wanted to take a few minutes.
You all are champions. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're happy to stay on for folks who do have questions, or if you prefer that we just answer your question maybe via email later, you can leave it in the chat. We've got a record of it. All
We could
right. Looks
also
like, oh, go ahead, Jared.
say we could also end the recording now at this point, and then
Let's do it.